Hi Aquarius, welcome to your January 2019 Tarot and Astrology reading. Welcome, 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 and a Happy New Year. So Aquarius, this is going to be a bit of a shake-up this month. It is a real boom into 2019 for you, which is actually going to be a very peaceful, prosperous year for Aquarius. Now we have the Three of Cups has popped out because it wants to be acknowledged. That's okay. Your partnerships, your relationships all around are going to be getting some sort of boost in January. And a boost can sometimes come from a removal of dead wood. The lunar eclipse in Leo on the 21st of January, just as the sun moves into your sign, is actually going to eclipse certain relationships in your life, certain partnerships, certain pairings. Because you're going to consider truly in 2019 what is the third cup which connects you to another person. What is it that you're celebrating together? Have you run out of things to celebrate? Or is there something new you wish to create and you're actually moving into the next step? Maybe some of you are eclipsing out of singledom and you're moving on to a period of being coupled. Maybe some of you are moving out of a period of being in cohabitation with another and you're moving into marriage. Similarly, maybe some of you are moving from marriage to divorce. It just is a change. This is a change of some kind. It's different for everybody. We're all so unique. Our paths are unique. Whatever this eclipse is, it may feel like a double-edged sword and you may feel anxious about it, but it's actually a victory. It is sudden change which you will look back on in 6 months and say, I'm glad that happened. That was leading me to some sort of new way of life, new way of living. It's a real shake-up, but it's a good one. Moving on from something. Everyone looks at this and thinks breakup. I never look at this and think breakup. I look at this as following your dreams. It's crossed by the Ace of Swords, so you're having an aha moment. It could actually be something which other people are worried about for you, but for the most part, I feel as if you're a little bit anxious about the change which is occurring in January. The freshness of the energy. When you're a fixed sign and we have a lunar eclipse in a fixed sign, you can feel very unsettled. You can feel very uneasy about the way things are. We have the Three of Swords in the past because you know what heartbreak feels like, you know what disappointment feels like, and you're worried about it happening again. But there are energies moving through the air at the moment which you cannot control. And you cannot reject. They just are. Four of Wands, gorgeous. So a positive, pleasant surprise is in store for many Aquarians. Something is growing which you did not see growing. King of Cups could be a water sign, could be an earth sign, could be another air sign. We have, wow, 3 court cards in a row. That's an interesting one. I say that a lot, I know, but I do find this very interesting. 9 of Swords, you are anxious, Aquarius, that's okay. The anxiety is temporary. It's going to go away. Especially when this Four of Wands moment occurs. That's always a pleasant surprise, I find. Some nice experience, some positive experience, feeling part of a community, being surrounded by your people. And it takes a certain special type of person to understand the Aquarian way of thinking, doesn't it? And you've encountered that problem before. You find people that didn't quite get you in the past and it leaves a little bit of a scar. You don't need them to understand, you just need them to roll with it. Judgment could be a Scorpio influence in your life, but I see this as your wake-up call. I see this as your calling. I see this lunar eclipse as being something which wakes you up to a new dawn, a new way of life. It's casting out the ghosts of the past, thanking your ghosts and letting them free. King of Swords is you being the best version of yourself. So you being hopeful, you being optimistic, you being determined, Aquarius. You being the star. I love the star, don't you? Well, you should. It's your card. hope, faith, optimism, purpose. The main word that I get here is purpose, following your purpose. The eclipse will change your confidence. Aquarians are independent by nature, but you know, partnerships are an important part of life. You can't escape to the woods forever on your own and expect to be fulfilled. You think you could. You can't. Magic is flowing through you and you're being your true authentic self, and if you haven't been, you're going to have to be. If you want fulfilling experiences, you have to meet them as you are. 10 of Cups. Possibly with a fire sign. Sagittarius, Leo, Aries influences. A rejected offer in the past is still hurting you, but we have pastors new to engage with. You want to reject this full moon because it makes you nervous, I understand. You don't have a choice though. And you'll be glad you didn't have a choice whenever the events play out as they do. You're still resisting this. This is funny. The Hangman, you're resisting the change. You're resisting being the best version of yourself because it's different. You don't want to compromise your individuality. Do you? You don't have to. You can't reject the moon. It's not possible. We are ruled by the moon whether we choose to acknowledge it or not. The Cancer full moon, what about that? The end of December, 22nd of December. I'm filming this today. 22nd of December. Full moon in Cancer. What's it doing for you? Energizing your day-to-day activity? Highlighting how bored you've been with something? How boring things have become because they haven't changed? Yet you get comfortable in the boredom, which isn't the Aquarian way to live, is it? It's not. Something has gone into levels of mundane, too safe, too structured, too much of the same. I know that whenever you've been hurt or you've had your dreams dashed, it's easier to play it safe. That's why people have ordinary lives. That's why people have ordinary jobs. Because going for something you truly care about and having it dashed is way too much. That's why so many writers write and don't publish, or don't try and publish. The rejection of your own creativity is the hardest thing to come by, I know. But your creativity is actually waiting to be unleashed in the world. People want to hear what you have to say in January. People want to hear your take on things. You have a unique way of looking at things, don't you? That's what the Hangman says. You have a very, very different perspective. It's quite topsy-turvy. This is a combination, isn't it? You can't imagine the King of Swords hanging upside down, suspended with one foot. Can't imagine him in red tights either. Yet here he is, taking a different perspective because he's been suppressed by how mundane things have really gotten. It's not long ago it was your lunar eclipse, Aquarius. What have you put on hold that needs your attention? What is it that has gone on that you need to transform? The truth is going to reveal itself under this lunar eclipse, and you may or may not like it. It really depends on what you have been holding on to. If you were holding on to things that served you, then grand, it'll be a good experience. Structures are going to get restructured. Expect changes where you don't expect them. Expect the unexpected. I know you guys like to be the one that shocks, but sometimes the universe likes to have a little bit of a game with Aquarian people and shock them right back. You could be in love with an earth sign. A Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo, maybe. You could have been really badly hurt by a water sign, though. Or fire. Perhaps there was a water sign that you thought was a safe bet. Maybe they weren't. Maybe the shock is there. Maybe that's who it is. Maybe it's a Scorpio. Fire energy, though. Fire energy could grow. Your entrepreneurial spirit could grow. You don't have do things, Aquarius. But it's not how much effort you're putting in this month. It's actually how unique your perspective is. If you can see this from another perspective, another level, rather than fighting with people, rather than being conflicting, try and shift your perspective to a ground which may feel somewhat uncomfortable, but it just takes a minute to get used to the new altitude. I know that you want to do a bit of soul searching, and you're going to get the chance to do that this month actually. Especially during Virgo season, the solar eclipse in Capricorn is going to be quite enlightening for what's going on within that little heart of yours and that little head of yours. It is something which is stirring that needs your attention, and it's speaking to you on a soul level. It's asking you to level up and follow your calling. What you're desiring to do in January is something which may have long-lasting effects. But you have to go about it in a different way than you thought you were going to do it. This could be a relationship. Maybe you have to take a new perspective. Maybe you have to, I don't know, sacrifice a bit of that freedom. Do you like it when someone disappears into their own world and doesn't give you a heads up on what it is that they're doing and where they're going? When you're dating an Aquarius, it's kind of like dating somebody who goes on little Alice in Wonderland style adventures from time to time. And you don't always know where they're going or what it means for you, and that's quite scary. But from your perspective, it's nothing new. You know, you might be dealing with someone who's never experienced an Aquarius before. And if you're playing around with a Scorpio, you know those conversations where everything's really good and you're laughing and you're having a good time, and then suddenly they've gone quiet and stern and you don't know what you've said, and you're like, how did that happen so quickly? That's kind of... that's a Scorpio thing right there. The world, successful completion of a project, successful completion of some kind. Yes! You know, you're in the world. You are here. You're the water bearer. The world in the Ten of Cups is really good. It's like with the Eight of Cups, you followed your dream. You have followed the rabbit down the rabbit hole. And it is an adventure. But Saturn... the amount of Capricorn energy, because the world is a Saturn card. What lessons have you learned? The world is incredibly liberating. You have to, under this lunar eclipse in particular, as we move into your season, happy birthday by the way, I didn't mention that. So we move into your season, this is kind of like a graduation, because that's your new year. That is your new year. And you have to look back over 2018 because it was a big one for you in terms of change. And a lot of Aquarians felt very uncomfortable with it. You really realized you were a fixed sign, and you guys like to reject that. You don't like to think you're a fixed sign. Others are going to be admiring you. You're going to feel triumphant and prosperous, but you're also going to feel liberated from your own fears, from your own restraints. You just have to be careful exactly about withholding your own truth and your own personal perspective, because that's actually what people want to hear. Even though they may have rejected it in the past and you felt like you were on your own, this is what they want to hear. You may recently have met somebody too, and you're wondering if this person's going to withstand the lunar eclipse in your partnership sector. Sorry I keep sniffing, by the way. I've had a cold for about 6 months. Don't know where it's going. It's what I want for the new year. No cold. So I'm looking at this Knight of Cups and I'm thinking this could be a water sign. I'm more drawn to you guys for earth and fire, to be honest, but it could be anybody. The Nine of Cups kind of reminds me of somebody that can offer you a level of advancement, and they make an offer the Ace of Wands, and you don't trust it necessarily. For a lot of you, you maybe think they're only after something that is gratifying for them and not necessarily for you. But this guy actually has quite high morals. So if there's someone recently has entered your life, I think, yes, there's a physical attraction, but there's also a good mental understanding between the two of you. So try not to worry too much about this eclipse. It is going to be very freeing for you and begin a new journey. And that doesn't mean it's a journey alone, okay? The sun. The sun after the tower. So there may actually be, there may actually be a clearing up of energies with the water sign. Ooh, the Emperor and the Two of Swords. Okay, you're holding very hard onto your hat. The Devil. He's come up for everybody. This Capricorn energy. Saturn. I talked about Saturn. Huh. Do you know how we go from liberation to restriction? We do that by warping our thinking. Don't let your fears get in the way of a wake-up call. The truth will set you free. Now, I've said this to a lot of people about the solar eclipse. The truth does set you free. And as I've mentioned Gloria Steinem in all of these videos, I think the truth may set you free, but at first it may piss you off. Now, how that happens, it is actually because you might get pissed off at yourself. Sorry. But it's true. You're feeling very, very worried about this no control thing. And this is why we know you are a fixed sign Aquarius. We know you are. Even if you have this liberation, even if you love freedom, even if you love feeling like you are in the clouds all the time, you can't hang from a cloud. Your perspective is key to getting through this month as a King of Swords person would. Your perspective. He's a clear head. He has a clear mentality. He has courage, he has compassion, and he has confidence. The only thing getting in the way of that is your thoughts. Think from your higher self, not your lower self. What would the best version of you do? This isn't as scary as it looks. This is actually wonderful. The world means that give it 6 months, give it a year. You're going to look back in January and think, thank God for this month. This was preparing me for what I actually wanted. I'm glad this happened. It was good. Hey. Don't let your fears oppress you, please. The Devil is neither a negative nor a positive card, even though he looks scary. He does look scary, doesn't he? But it's how you channel the Devil that counts. You know, we have you underneath again. Knight of Swords. The important thing is you don't rush to conclusions. The Hangman and the Devil, very similar. Kind of neutral energies, but it's how you use them. It's how you utilize them. You can choose courage, which will liberate you, or you can feel overwhelmed and disoriented and make bad decisions because you're afraid. You can maybe feel a bit reckless and self-destructive because when eclipses occur, people don't really know what they're doing or where they are. And definitely don't drink on the eclipse nights if you can avoid it. Something may control you for the negative. But the Devil, as I say, if you channel this, you can liberate yourself from your adversaries. You can have your internal guidance system on alert to see when something isn't right. Again, if you're wondering if somebody in your life is going to survive the eclipses, if your relationship's going to survive the eclipses, it is dependent on how oppressive or liberating the relationship really is. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel trapped? Do you feel unhappy? Or do you feel free? And do you feel content? And do you feel supported? Supported is important. You may have an addiction of some kind that helps you to cope when change is occurring. You know, the devil can sometimes be that, and it can be something as simple as shopping or food. It doesn't have to be the obvious. Aquarians don't usually take the obvious route anyway. Devil can be very wild and unconventional in his approach to problems, and being unconventional will serve you, as indicated by the Hanged Man. The change that surrounds you will either be scary or seductive. But with the King of Swords as the outcome, it means you have the power to overcome it quickly and learn from it and make something that seems daunting into something which serves you for years to come. It's kind of an energy which indicates to me now or never. Medicine woman, you're a channel for divine healing power. You're becoming increasingly sensitive. Avoid harsh relationships, environments, situations, and chemicals. I'll do one more. Oh, bodies of water has come out for a lot of people. Spend time near water such as a lake, a river, and the ocean to recharge your batteries. Interesting indeed. Sacred space. Okay, so your ability to get through this lunar eclipse, solar eclipse month, Aquarius, is actually very much to do with how well you look after your mental and spiritual, physical health, etc. Spending time by water, spending time by yourself, getting some perspective, but let people know where you're going. If they are your significant other, if they're your friends, don't let people worry so much. If you just need a bit of time by yourself, let them know. Eclipse season isn't easy on anybody, and we want to avoid any misunderstandings. Particularly when it occurs in partnerships, you're going to matter more to people than you realize. Instead of praying for an outcome, I pray for the highest good for all. Very good to keep in mind throughout this month. Pray for the best outcome rather than thinking you know what it is. When I lean towards love, I am led. And there's a little crescent moon to give you an indication that the moon is your friend. In any moment I can surrender to the presence, powerful presence of love through prayer, contemplation and stillness. Yeah. And underneath, I love this one. I surrender to a power greater than me. The universe knows what it's doing. It's bringing you on a successful conclusion. It's bringing you on a new start, a new journey. Please don't reject it. Look after yourself, Aquarius. This is actually going to be a month that you're really going to understand what it means to have a new year. It's going to be a powerful year. It's going to be pleasant. But it's going to be powerful too. And you know, as much as I do believe that you shape your own destiny and your own decisions matter significantly, I think the element of surrender as a fixed sign is very important to learn. Just say, universe, I know what you're doing. It's cool. I trust you. I love you. And I'll see you guys in the next set of readings.